Hi everyone, Brian here wishing you a wonderful Friday and a great week ahead. You will find in this week's Friday e-news a short paragraph from me written which announces to the congregation here at Church of Our Savior that the Executive Committee and I have discussed a scenario for preparing for me to retire from active work as the rector of this parish. This past Wednesday, we introduced this outline to the vestry, and so they have been made aware, and now it's time to share it with the entire congregation. It's a very interesting time for Church of Our Savior, and we are coming up on a significant year and a half in our history to come forward. When I became rector in 2008, we were fairly optimistic, but also realistic about how we were ever going to replace our parish hall building with a modern structure that would meet the needs of the congregation moving forward. We knew we were between a rock and a hard place with this. It began while the previous rector, Linda Packard, was the rector of the parish, and it's continued until this very spring. It's marked the entire time I've been the rector here. The problem was simple. The parish hall building had served us the entire history of our time at 530 Fullerton Parkway. It was probably out of date even when we bought the property, and the fact that we built the church into the parish hall with stained glass windows in the apse of the sanctuary has always said to me that the original design presumed that at some point in the near future the church would tear down that parish hall and create something new. It's over 120 years since that happened, but it's been a wonderful journey to get us to where we are. However, this transition time is also a good time for the parish to start thinking about leadership once we're into a new building and with all the new challenges that will face the congregation in the years to come. The wardens and I have decided that we will mark my retirement date as the Sunday when Church of Our Savior comes back from Salvatore's and starts celebrating Sunday worship services back in the church. This will probably be several months before the final building is completed. We're leaving the entire building of the parish hall and church for the initial months of construction because of the tie-in between the church and the parish hall building in terms of electricity and plumbing and heat and that sort of thing. Once the new building is sufficiently put together that we can start using the church again because of, again, heat, electricity, and all the plumbing and that sort of thing that will be available to us again, we'll move back even if they still have the finishing touches and other interior work to do before the new community center is finished. But that seems like an opportune time for me to retire and for the congregation to spend the months following that coming together under the leadership of an interim pastor to look for the next rector. We're announcing it now so that everybody knows this pattern is in place and that we can resolve whatever the congregation may want or need from me while I'm still here. And we can celebrate the months we're away from the church with the same rhythms that we have going into it. The same leadership will be in place. I'll be there all through our time at Salvatore's. And we hope and expect and plan that when you show up at Salvatore's, whenever that first Sunday is, that we'll experience it as a wonderful, calm way. Yes, we're in a different location, but that everything will feel the same. So I'm looking forward to this time together, and we will have completed that whole circuit and series. When we come back to the church, and we know that we're on the road to completing this enormous project, then we'll look at the leadership of your priest for the next few years to come. It goes without saying that it's perhaps been the greatest honor of my life to be rector of any congregation anywhere, but of course this congregation in particular. I was, because I've always worked also as a spiritual director, I could have some liberty in not just, needing the next congregation to fulfill my ministry needs, etc. So when I prayed about coming to be rector of Church of Our Savior, and when I had the honor of working with our call committee in 2008, it was just a great joy to recognize that I might just have some stuff to offer the congregation at this turn in history. But that's, of course, for you all to decide. What I didn't realize was how much this congregation had to give me, even in this role as rector. My life has been molded very much by the love I have for all of you and the warmth with which you've returned that to me. We've gone through a long struggle. This business of getting that building down and the new building up has been like a dull headache at the back of the parish for a long time. And then there was the crisis with COVID, which only added to that. And then the fact that we live in a neighborhood that's quickly moving, like the spread of secularism through the United States, away from families that want to gather at churches and more to individual spiritual journeys. And institutional churches are struggling with how to respond to that real yearning among younger people. I think we're doing that as well without giving up our heritage or tradition. So it's been a great journey, and I've loved every minute of it, being with all of you and all that you've taught me and all that I've been able to listen to in the many stories and many turns in people's lives that have gone on over the last 12 years. So I look forward to the upcoming time, and thank you very much. Please join us this Sunday and every Sunday to celebrate our life together. Thanks for listening, and God bless.